from the Ticats Audio Network. This is the Ticats This Week.
Another edition of Ticats This Week hitting you right now. It's Rick Zamperin, Simoni Lawrence, Matt Bucknor. And what a game we are coming off of, talking about the Tiger Cats hammering the Toronto Argonauts 51-38. We're going to talk a little bit about the secret sauce that the Tiger Cats are using to get 2 wins in a row in the bank. We'll talk a little Kenny Lawler, Bo Levi Mitchell, Isaiah Wooden. Got to give love to the Ticats defense as well. They're getting set for another inter-division matchup against the Ottawa Redblacks this coming Saturday night in the Hammer. It's a 7 p.m. start time. Tiger Cats pregame hitting the Ticats Audio Network at 6 p.m. As always, let's start the show with a recap and a little bit of a look at what's coming up here in week number 6 of the CFL. So Hamilton destroys Toronto. Ticats are 2-2, second place in the East, behind 3-2 Montreal. The Argos and the Redblacks both 1-4. And in the West, Saskatchewan still the only undefeated team in the CFL, 4-0. If Calgary and Winnipeg both at 3-1, the Lions at 2-3, and the Elks at 1-3. So this week, week 6 in the CFL, Calgary is in Saskatchewan Friday night. Again, Hamilton hosting Ottawa on Saturday evening, and Sunday night, BC at Edmonton. Let's kick it off with some hardware, so to speak, for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That is the CFL Honor Roll. Kudos to Kenny Lawler, Julian Hauser, and the Ticats O-line, all making the Honor Roll for the CFL in week number 5. Lawler stats, a freak of nature, 6 catches, a career high, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hauser had 1 defensive tackle, quarterback sack, a pass knockdown, and high Pro Football Focus grades for Coulter Woodmansey, Liam Dobson, and Quentin Barrow, the right side of the offensive line especially, and more honor roll kudos to Bo Levi Mitchell, Ante Milanovic-Litre, Isaiah Wooden, pinpointing offense, defense, special teams. It was one of those games for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And that brings us to point number 1, and we'll start with the illustrious Simoni Lawrence on this one. What has been the secret to the Ticats' success the last couple of weeks?
Rick, efficiency, playing together. Matt, what we talked about. Everybody is playing high-level football. The offense is playing efficient football, meaning they have a great balanced attack these past couple of games. And the stars are being the stars. 1 week, we talking about Tim, 90% of the passes that he caught, he was getting 8.3 yards per catch. Next week, we're talking about Kenny Lawler, 3 touchdowns in a game, and it's all efficient. And the thing about it is they're taking turns. It looked like the defense helped the offense power through the win last week or 2 weeks ago. And then this week, it looks like the offense helped the defense power through this win. And then the thing about the special teams, I would love to say the special teams is consistently great. There's some hiccups happening, like returns and stuff, but they're consistently great, meaning they're making way more plays than the other team's special teams. So you're getting what you call continuity football. And whenever you're not turning the ball over, baby, woo! Let's go to work, baby. It's simple. It's simple football. Hey, and Rick and Matt, we win in the hitting battle every single time, baby.
Every week. Every week.
Hey,
every week.
Hey, I was like, let me go look at Toronto's injury report. Let's just say a lot of them guys not practicing today.
Matt, what's been your opinion of the last couple of weeks for the Ticats? What has been the turning point for them?
It's been fun football to watch. The first few games, of course, they were a little shaky coming out of the preseason, especially week 1. There was a few. They talked about some of the turnovers. They've been playing really clean football in terms of just there hasn't been turnovers offensively. Bo Levi taking care of the football. He's thrown 1 interception this entire year. And so I think that's one of the secrets, too, is to taking care of the football. There's some spots where he's taking sacks. And again, on paper, it doesn't look good when you take a sack. But the thing is, you're protecting the football. You're protecting the football. You're not taking an errant throw downfield or making a throw that you're going to regret later on. So he's taking care of the football, which is great. And then special teams wise, one of the guys that we haven't talked about much is Brian Cole II, who's been lighting up the special teams charts. He's second in the league in special teams tackles, and plays like that. What it does is it ignites the defense. It ignites the defense getting ready to come out there, and they're getting 2-and-outs. They're getting stops. And then, of course, you're playing physical football. Sim, you talked about the pad smacking. Brian Cole has been one of the guys. Of course, you talked about Tronowski making a statement, of course, making some big plays when they're, pinning the opposition in their own end. And, of course, Constantine, we got to stick with special teams here. Constantine having those coffin corners, like he's getting this almost like one a week he's having right now. He's just doing a really good job with the ball placement. And then what that does when you're placing the ball in deep into the opposition's end, they're coming out, they're on their 1 yard line on some of these possessions. That shortens the playbook. Right now, that's advantage defense too. So, Sim, you're right. You're talking about the everybody playing together. There's a lot of continuity on all ends of the ball. Offense is helping the defense. Defense is helping the offense. Special teams is kicking around. And of course, I got to talk about the defense. How can I not talk about the defense? They've been playing lights out football, flying around. Ray Wilborn had a pretty standout game too, along with Verasuk. Both of those guys playing physical football. And then, of course, Stavs, he's doing his thing. He's making his name. Stav is one of the he's leading the team in tackles right now. So he's cleaning up when he's supposed to. He's doing his job. He's playing physical football. Had a big breakup last game.
That's not a good thing, Matt. Don't make that look like it's a good thing, man.
No. But when I say it's a good thing, that means he's cleaning up, right? He's cleaning up, and he's not making tackles in the pass. He's coming down in the run. Stavs is coming down in the run and making tackles too. So you know what? Shout out to this entire defensive unit. Of course, we want to see Verasuk, we want to see Wilborn lead the team, and they will as the season progresses. That's one of the things. But just seeing the physical play from not only just the guys at the front end, but of course in the back end too, you're seeing really physical play all around. And so it's been just complete football, which has been fun to watch. The energy, of course, in the broadcast is up, and then you get to see the energy up from the team too. And so it's just really good football.
Yeah, when you say the stars are being stars and that continuity or complementary football, I mean, last week's game was a microcosm of that. Bo Levi throws for over 300 yards, 5 TDs, no interceptions. Greg Bell is a very efficient game on the ground, gets into the end zone for the first time this season. Lawler, a career-high 207 yards, 3 TDs. The guy could not be stopped. And then defensively, the 3 guys that you just mentioned, Matt, whether it was Verasuk, Wilborn, Katsantonis, I think it's the way that Katsantonis is hitting guys. Sim, you talk about winning the hitting battle. He's lowering the boom. Guys in the linebacking core and the D-line, making some big plays as well. The defense is making a big play. The offense is following up with a big play. Special teams making big plays. They're playing a complete game week in and week out. And if you can do that consistently, you're going to be on the right side of the scoreboard more often than not.
Absolutely, Rick. And the thing I would also like to say about the defense, you see points getting scored on the defense and stuff, but football is such a chess magnet game that as long as you're able to make your plays, and when I say make your plays, you got to make your big plays. So, like, when we got that interception by Amos, you just see the whole turns time. When we get a sack by Julian, you see everything turn. And it's just where the defense is making enough big plays per game to keep momentum on our side and make sure that the team can't grasp momentum. So, like, when they had that first drive, you're like, oh, my gosh, here we go. And then they get the interception. It's just an automatic momentum shifter. So I think our defense is they're playing together, but they're making big plays. We're getting like 3 of them a game.
Okay, we cannot not talk about Kenny Lawler. What a monster performance that was against the Argonauts. And this is the reason why General Manager Ted Govaya and head coach Scott Milanovich said in free agency, he's got to be the guy that we, put all our chips in the middle of the poker table and get. And they did. And the dividends are paying off. 6 catches last week. I mentioned a career-high 207 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 big touchdowns. On the year, 24 catches. He's tied for 3rd. 483 yards. He's number 1 in the CFL. He scored 5 touchdowns, number 1 in the league. Let's not forget, the Ticats had the bye week in week 3. He's only played 4 games thus far and leading the league in some of those categories. Matt, what are opposing teams going to try to do to try to stop Kenny Lawler?
Hope and pray. No. In all seriousness, All seriousness, no, these guys, you're going to see double teams. You're going to see some double teams come his way. They're going to try to give different looks. They're going to try to mix up different coverages, combo coverages. They're going to try to bracket him. There's going to be different looks that you're going to see to go Tim White's way. But the thing is, when you do that, you also are going to be susceptible to Tim White. You're going to be susceptible to Keandre Smith. You're going to be susceptible to Shamar Bridges. And so these are other receivers that are also going to light up the scoreboard. So you can't really for these defenses, you can't really focus too much on Kenny as much as he is the guy that's going to light you up. He's been their top producer so far, but it's just a matter of kind of just getting your best defender and lighting him up over top of him. If that's one of your options, is kind of have somebody. We've seen some looks where they'll have a DB. Your best guy is just going to trail him wherever Kenny goes. You might see looks like that where that top defender is going to line up over top of him, things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how defenses respond to this offense. And again, just to add to what you've been talking about with Kenny. So Kenny in 2021, which was another one of his top years producing, he had 1,014 yards receiving, had 64 receptions that year, 50.8 average with 6 touchdowns. He already has 5 touchdowns this year. And then on top of that, he has 483 yards, which is leading the league. 20.1 yards per is average. It's just he's just lighting it up right now, and he's the top dog in the receiving core. Now he's on pace almost to put up like 1,500 yards if he continues this trajectory. So man, hats off to Kenny on his early production for sure.
Sim, when the Ottawa Redblacks sit down and watch tape on Kenny Lawler this week, head coach Bob Dice and defensive coordinator William Fields are going to say what to themselves and keep it clean?
They're gonna say, "Oh my gosh, Toronto is horrible." Number 20 that played safety for Toronto needs to go back to school. That was bad football, not taking anything away from the boys because they did exactly what they were supposed to do to a team that thought like that was acceptable. That's the way they could come out and play against the 2 best receivers in the league, guys. In the whole entire league. It's not even close when I'm talking about it. When you got players like Kenny Lawler, they make everybody around them better, okay? Like Winnipeg, I don't know what they were thinking. I think they thought Schoen was actually like a star number 1 receiver, but not understanding that Kenny Lawler is the reason that Schoen is going to be a really good football player. Kind of same thing over there in Montreal where the guys Speaker and Matt Cole, they work well together. You know what I mean? The thing about how defenses are going to stop this, I can't say it because I don't want nobody doing it. It feels good when the Ticats is winning. But what you're going to see is there's nothing you really can do. This offense is built for success. And when I say I've never seen a more complete offense, I'm not joking. Kenny Lawler is a problem. Tim White is a problem. Shamar Bridges is a problem. Keandre is a problem. Greg Bell is a problem. It's built for success. The way you have to play this team is lots of cut coverage zone, stay over top, and just play football. You can't say, hey, we're going to just go double team Kenny because then Tim White's going to put up 500 yards on whoever. There's no matchup that is in your favor on this football team. You can say, oh, we're not going to let Kenny score. Okay, then Tim White will. Oh, we're not going to let Tim White or Kenny score. Okay, then Shamar will. This offense is built for success. There's a way you can slow certain things down to make sure he doesn't. Like, for example, a lot of teams you're going to start seeing the will linebacker. They're going to walk out to the boundary, and you know what? You watch tape. Everybody's watching tape. You're like, yo, I can't stick Tim White with that waggle, and like with that waggle, somebody go slow them down, please. You know what I mean? So the boundary half or the high player can process all of these routes happening, so maybe they can get a jump. So I remember when I played Will, I used to be like, you know what? I'm going to slow down the best receivers over here, so at least y'all got some time to see exactly what they want to do. You know what I mean? So that's a way they can do it, but the answer is this offense is built for success. When you have the number 1, 2 receivers in the league, and I'm not even exaggerating on like how much better they are than, you know, a lot of the other players. Like, these two guys are real football players, and it's so fun to watch them. And Rick and Matt, there's only one way you can stop these guys, man. You got to go find Simoni Lawrence when he's in shape.
I don't want to dive into that anymore if we have to. That could be the secret weapon out there. Matt, further to Simoni's point, Matt, I mean, the way the offensive line is playing too, giving Bo Levi time, you know, if Lawler's the deep guy, is that going to open up more stuff underneath for things like Timmy, for Keandre, for Shamar? I mean, is this offense just, you know, the just hitting the tip of the iceberg with its potential?
Yeah, well, I think that these past 2 games is how the Ticats want to play football. It's a balanced attack, Rick and Matt, where it's like normally you go into the games against the Ticats and, well, the first 2 games, and it was literally like 90-10, 80-20, something around there on pass run. You know how easy it is to play defense when it's like that? With this balanced attack, it's hard to call plays. Now the defenders or the coaches are like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on. They bring this guy in, I don't know. So they can't really match it up the way that they want to match everything up. So, man, this is the way that we're going to keep performing for sure these past couple of games. This is like the best. As far as open things up, I know that the Toronto Argonauts did a horrible job to play consistent football. Like, they were just trying every different kind of coverage, just seeing what works. You know, you got 2 defensive coordinators. That means you have none. So the way they played, it is a misconception of how a lot of teams would play against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Matt, you want to chime in on that as well?
Yeah, just to add to that, is with Bo getting the protection that he is getting, it does open up a lot of other options, and they kind of they showed flashes of that too, because you saw that they were hitting Ternowski on some of those outs. They were hitting Keandre on some of he had I believe it was a Kansas route that he ran and scored on that touchdown. And so you're getting some of these other options that are going to open up too when, again, you want to put the focus on Kenny. There's going to open up a lot of other options. So this is going to be a fun offense to watch down the stretch because they have so many weapons and they haven't even utilized all of them to their full capacity yet, which is again, and that's just based on game planning though too, right? It's just, hey, listen, we see what we saw against the matchups we see with Kenny. We're going to take the top off. Again, we like some of the matches we're going to see against Keandre. We're going to take the top off there too. So they're going to have some options moving down the field. And of course, with that O-line playing the way they are, they're giving up minimal sacks. They're giving Bo. You saw Bo was in that pocket pretty comfortably for the most part of that game. If they could continue that type of production, it's going to be this offense is going to light up a lot of scoreboards for sure.
Toronto did give the secret a recipe on what not to play against the Hamilton Cats as well. Let's be completely honest. A lot of teams are going to be like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Because when I tell you, like, even on the offensive line probably was so happy because, like, these guys were getting beat fast, too. You know, like, these aren't, like on Keandre's touchdown, they were pretty much playing cover one, meaning they had one high safety, and then everybody else was in man. So pretty much they were running zero coverage necessarily. I'm only saying zero because 20 back there was a non-factor, and not blitzing over more than 7 people. So it was just bad football too. So a lot of teams gonna learn what not to play against the Ticats after watching this game, you know. And like they're too well respected to say, hey, we're going to play man-to-man on these
All
guys,
game.
and we're going to have no, Bo Levi's going to eat that up, baby. So a lot of teams are going to be like, all right, we're not going to do that.
Speaking of Bo Levi, another outstanding performance in Toronto, 19 of 24, 332 yards, a career high tying 5 touchdowns in that football game. Matt, is Bo Levi even better this year than he was last year? And let's not forget, he was the East nominee for most outstanding player. I mean, here's a guy that has 9 touchdowns and just 1 interception. Is he even better this year?
I think just in terms of his efficiency, I'm going to say yes to start the year, yes, because he's thrown 9 touchdowns and only 1 interception. His completion percentage rate right now is he's kicking at, it's I believe 69, 70% right now in terms of his completion percentages. And so he's, and that percentage puts him, I believe, second in the league. And so he's putting up good numbers. He's putting up touchdowns, low interceptions, and then taking care of the football. And he's showing that the deep ball, he still has that deep ball, and he's not afraid to let it go. And so, and then that's also been a big part of his game for a long part of his career is taking those shots downfield. Of course, there's going to be times where you don't want to always take those shots. You got to take what the defense is giving you. But he's doing a really good job efficiently with his efficiency, I should say, in terms of just taking his shots when he has them. And then of course, just to add, just double down on what we mentioned before, the protection too from this O-line this year has been a lot better. So that's going to help his game even more. So you need to have that protection from the O-line in order for Bo to be at Bo's best. And so it's not just one man that you need. You're going to need everybody doing their part. With putting a lot of emphasis on that O-line, which they've been doing at a really high level so far to start the season. And if Bo continues this trajectory, he's going to be, he might maybe surpass his numbers from last year.
Yeah, that'd be pretty scary. And I know Bo has a tremendous mental capacity when it comes to football IQ for this game. He seems to be fitting in really nicely in Scott Milanovich's offense. We certainly saw that in the second half of last year. I think another thing that has helped too is let's credit the defensive stops, the special teams return game. Hamilton is number 1 in starting field position in the CFL at the 39.1 yard mark, an average start time or average starting field position for the Ticats. That's a huge factor too. Sim, what have you noticed out of Bo Levi Mitchell this year?
You took it out of my mouth. I think the special teams did a great job setting the offense up with field position. When you get to call the football game on the other side of the 50 to the plays you love calling, and you know what you're going to get from most defensive teams in that part of the field, it's easy to play football. And to Bo's credit, Bo's doing a great job reading the field, and his 50-50 balls are going our way right now, too. Yeah. You got to bring the fact that you have Kenny Lawler here as well as Tim White here as well from last year. So that is something that's completely different. He threw 3 touchdowns to Kenny Lawler, and they were jump balls, give me the ball. The beautiful post that he threw, that was a beautiful football. But, you have Kenny Lawler, Tim White, Shamar Bridges, Greg Bell, he's in great shape to the point where he just has to play efficient football, guys. And that's what he's been doing. Look at the first 2 games. The first 2 games, he threw the ball around 40 to 51 times. And we were 0-2, and he had 63% completion ratio and 1 interception. We're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? You know what I mean? But we're too caught up in the yards. But these past couple games that we just played where he throwing the ball around 24 to 31 times, sitting at that 80% margin. What? No turnovers. That's what it is. Scott Milanovich is understanding his football team. He knows how to win games with his football team. This 2-0 stretch that we're on right now, Bo Levi threw the ball 24 to 31 times, no turnovers, and 80%. You won't lose a lot of games like that. You just won't.
Agreed. Ticats hosting Ottawa this coming Saturday night after a big-time win against the Argonauts last week. Tiger Cats pregame will begin at 6 p.m. with Bubba and Matt, and kickoff for Redblacks and Tiger Cats in the Hammer is at 7 o'clock. You can catch all the action on the Ticats Audio Network. Simoni, despite giving up 38 points last week against the Argonauts, I think the Ticats defense deserves some love. Agree?
Heck yeah, give them love, man. Look, I don't know why everybody don't understand. It's about winning the football game. However you got to get it. All I care about is I don't care if the score was 101 to 95. I'd be sad, but we won. And you have to call it the same way that Scott Milanovich, when we interviewed him after one of the best broadcast shows ever on Ticat television, if you guys didn't know, we interviewed Coach after the game, and he was literally telling us, like, yo, we're scoring too fast. Like, we have to find a way to just drive the ball down, because defense is all the offense only had 53 plays, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and they scored that many plays. That's what you call efficiency. So now they're like, yo, we got to find a way to slow the game down. And the same goes for when you have a big lead. You can't call the game the same way. Yes, Monson, I hear you, because I talked to Monson. He's like, it's too many points. I'm like, Monson, no! I know you're hard on the boys, and you don't want them score that points because you don't want your defense looking like that. But you have to play continuity football. And the thing about playing continuity football is when you're up by a certain amount, you got to call the game different, because you want the offense, if they're going to drive the ball, let them dink and dunk, let them go. You don't want any big plays happening. So, of course, you're going to tell the DBs to lack. And Matt Bucknor knows, because he plays defense. You tell a DB to, like, play off, oh, my gosh. You might as well tell them go get the Gatorade, the Kool-Aid, the water. They on lunch break, Rick. Right. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You tell a DB to play off. They already, so that's all a part of it. And the thing about the defense is they're making plays, big plays, momentum shifters. I wish we could see after every single big play on defense what happens on offense, what happens on special teams, because it's instant. Just like when Wooden gets the ball and scores and gets a good field position and we go on the field and throw a touchdown, it's the same thing. Amos get an interception, what happens? We throw a touchdown the very next play. Momentum shifter. Those are points. So, Coach Monson, I know we talked. He said that was too many points. But look, it's about winning a football game, baby. It's about winning a football game. And I love how hard you are on the boys, because I hope you was in the meeting room telling them that's too many, because you got to do that. But between me and you, we know, bro.
Listen, overall, too, this Ticats team has forced 9 turnovers this season. That's tied for 4th in the CFL. And that was a problem last year. There was too many turnovers on the offensive side of the football. Hamilton's defense last year not turning the ball or forcing turnovers. Yep. This year, we've seen the exact opposite, right? Bo Levi has 1 interception. The Ticats D taking the ball away time and time again. Matt, how big of a factor is that in the win-loss column?
It's huge. It's huge because the most important thing, okay, a win is the most important thing, but the ball is the most important thing. On defense, you're trying to get that ball. It doesn't matter how you do it, whether it's a tackle for loss, if it's a sack fumble, if it's an interception. The most important thing is that ball, and the defense is doing just that. Hey, Sim, I see you with it now. I see you with it. Come on. They need the ball. And right now, you mentioned the turnovers. The defense, they have 6 of them, 6 interceptions, which is, they had 14. They had 14 last year. So they're already on pace to potentially beat that, right? And so get the ball, keep getting the ball. I thought another thing too, we talk about Coach Monson's defense. I thought Coach Monson did a great job. Every touchdown that Toronto had to get, now aside from that, they had the kick return for a touchdown. So the defense gave up 31 points, if we're going to get technical. Yep. Sorry. It was 31 points. But they had to earn. It was all earned. So it was long drives that they had to sustain to get. And there might have been one possession that they had. It was a shorter field. But aside from that, they had to drive the field. That first possession they scored on that touchdown, they had to drive the field. You know what? And again, if that's how it's going to happen, you know what? Hats off to the offensive units. You have to earn your points. And so I think hats off to the defense. They're not giving up those big explosion plays like Toronto on the flip side. Toronto's giving up those big bombs. You don't want to have that. You don't want to have the band striking up the band every other possession. So I think Coach Monson and of course that defense is doing a great job of keeping keeping everything in front of them, making the offense earn their points, and then and just closing out these games. Because I'm with you, Sam. As long as the Dubs on that color, we're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. But Matt, we can't get it misconstrued though.
Yeah.
We want to see 2 and outs.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the best kind of football. 2 and outs and turnovers. I don't want to see them driving the ball downfield like that, because if you going against a team like Saskatchewan and Calgary and teams that like to play that kind of football where their defense is set up for that kind of football, like let's take some time off the clock, methodically drive the ball off the clock. That's how those teams love to play, you know? So I understand Coach Monson still. He wants to see 2 and outs because he understands that's how you win football games. You can say what you want, but 2 and outs is the most important thing. I'm just saying in the precedence of this football game, what was going on, because the score does not dictate what was going on in the game. Hamilton Tiger Cats was beating the dog crap out of the Toronto Argonauts on every single phase. Like, even when they were scoring touchdowns, it didn't feel real. Like, they won the hitting battle on on offense. They won the hitting battle on defense. They won the hitting battle on special teams. So whenever you dominate that, I don't care what the score says, because it's going to dictate at the end of the game what's going to happen. But they're driving the ball on us. I don't like that. I want to see 2 and outs. That's my 2 and outs of turnovers, baby. But when your offense is on fire and they got to slow the game down because they scored too fast, now y'all just switch roles. You know what I'm saying? Because it all works together. If you say, like, if you're saying, set, hut, bomb, Kenny Lawler, touchdown. Now defense like, oh my God, we got to switch roles now. We got to, but you want the offense managing the clock.
Right.
You don't want the defense who has to be on defense managing the clock. You feel me? Right.
No, it's true. Well, and just to add to that too, Sim, the defense did play lights out on second down this past game. I believe they were at 55%. Toronto's offense was at 55% conversions on second down. And so that's pretty good in terms of, we want it lower. If you get it to 35%, that's even better. But 55% is pretty good for on second down. So, what's his name? Arbuckle wasn't too comfortable that night.
Yeah, but we said that before the game. We said Arbuckle is cheeks. We knew what we Well, I said that. I said that.
I think most Ticats fans would concur.
I said that.
Hey, listen, we've given some love to the offense. We've given a big high five to the defense. We got to give some love to the special teams as well, because, and it's more than just Isaiah Wooden, but his name is in the spotlight, and for good reason. He has put the special in special teams, 2 kick return touchdowns through 4 games, no less. Sim, can he be the next Speedy B?
Hey, we can't do that yet. You can't do that yet. You can't do that yet. But like I said, any player can go through to the moon. You know what I'm saying? That has the opportunity to play professional sports. You have the opportunity to go to the moon. Me being a football player and knowing all the adversity and trials you have to go through to go to the moon, understands that it's a process. Does he have the skill set to be the next Speedy B? Absolutely. He just got to get there because he has the skill set. I was like, you know what? I'm watching him play football and something looked different. I'm a high level guy. I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks different. Let me go check it out. I'm like, yo, his acceleration is dangerous. All preseason, I was like, I love how he hits the hole in the middle of the like no fear, gets upfield, just runs through everything, and his 0 to 100 is fast. Let's do the numbers, y'all. Y'all like talk about NFL football? Let me tell you about CFL football. At the Combine, the fastest 10 start is 1.40 at the NFL Combine. Our returner Wooden, his 10 start is a 1.38.
Woo. Wow.
Man, you know the kind of angle Simoni Lawrence has to get on to catch that?
Anybody.
Does it exist?
Anybody has
You
to get
see
that.
what I'm saying? That's elite.
problem.
That's elite. The best of the best, the best. So, yes, his skill set is there. And I love how fearless he is. And why is he fearless? I was like, how is a wide receiver returner fearless catching the ball? No way. Wide receivers usually, don't touch me, don't touch me. It's because he played running back too. His first position was running back. That's what he's used to playing, running back, and it shows, especially when Toronto Argonauts number 20, the best player on our team, tried to tackle him. Spin move, get off me, don't touch me, and then 1.38. That boy's nasty. I love watching him play football, Rick. He's one of those football players where you can appreciate just watching his craft. And as long as he can lock in and stay focused, catching the football, not turning the football over, continue to get upfield, because where it gets at, you get so good, you're like, I could score on every single one of these and forget about how you scored on every single one of these. And his way of scoring is, boop, boop, upfield, I'm getting my yards. Once he starts like, I'm going to try this and this, continue doing what you're doing, taking care of your body, understanding who you're playing against, knowing where the ball's going to go, where the kicker likes to place the ball after when they kick the ball off, what yard line it is, so you can have yourself lined up and ready. Study all of the punters, how they kick the football, so you can know exactly where the ball's going. It still has time to clean up some things on his game to reach that level. But, everybody has a chance to go to the moon that is playing professional sports. It is up to you to get there, because it is a journey. Nothing happens overnight. And the people that think it happens overnight, they don't even get to come to the sleepovers after a couple of years.
Yeah, there's a lot of hard work and pain and suffering that goes into making a professional football player. And then you got to be at that level for so long, like Speedy B was. And I just want to clarify, I wasn't saying that Wooden is the next. The question was, can he be the next? And Matt, so far so good. Like 2 return touchdowns in 4 games. Do you suspect opposing teams are going to start to kick maybe Jonathan Moxey's way on kickoffs?
Oh, I would have been doing that.
Well, yeah, they're gonna try. They're gonna try. But again, at some point, he's gonna get his hands on the football. These good returners in this, especially in the CFL, they're gonna always find a way to get their hands on the football. You saw what Toronto tried to do. They hit Hamilton with the reverse last time, right? Just put the ball in in his hands anytime they can. We're gonna see the same thing with Isaiah Wooden. Hamilton's gonna find ways to make sure that he gets his touches. And Isaiah, he's been a guy that we've been talking about from the preseason in terms of just his flashes and what he brings. Like, man, this guy, he has this burst to him. He has a burst. And Sim, I love that you said that. He's running fearless. Sometimes you can see there's hesitation from returners. It's just, you get that ball and go. Get the ball and go. And every time he does that, it's like when he touches it, every time it looks like he's gonna break one. It's like, he just got tackled. Oh, he got tackled. But he's been really excited. He's been really excited to watch. Not only just in the kick returns, but also in the punt return. His average on his punt returns, he's 16.7 on his punt returns, which is, he's getting a first down and a half every time he touches the ball. Yeah. First down and a half, which is, that just flips the field. That's giving your offense a little bit more. We talk about complementary football, continuity football. That's adding to that. Not every punt return is going to be a touchdown, but if you can get a first down, Milanovic is patting you on the back every time you come to that sideline. And so Isaiah Wooden, he's just doing his job. He's doing he's doing his job, and he's doing it at an elite level. Can he be the next Speedy B? Sim, I'm with you. We don't know. I'm gonna say no, because Speedy B is one of the elite of the elite. Yeah. But he, again, the ceiling is really high. The ceiling's really high for Isaiah, and he's gonna be one of the top returners in this league if he continues this trajectory.
And let me just say something about one of the greatest football players to play here as well, Speedy B. The thing about Speedy B is, before he got to the CFL, he was doing the exact same thing in the NFL. Yeah. I'll tell y'all a story. So I was playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the time, right? And then I was killing it. I'm having the game of my life, right? Tackles everywhere. I tackle Speedy. I'm like, this little why are you returning the ball, right? The next punt return he took to the house for a touchdown. The very next one. So, like, I'm one of those guys because I know how hard it is to be consistently great at something, you know, over the years and the time that you put in, that I understand that it's going to take a body of work to do what the greats have done in this game. It's not something that can happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's something that's going to have to happen consistently, where it's like, you know what, Speedy B back there, I'm running to go. I'm blocking extra hard. You know what I'm saying? On everybody, you know, and that's what Wooden has created on the special teams as well too. These guys are going harder for them. You see people running next level fast to get the blocks and everything, and he's making everybody on his special teams better. And that's what you want your returners to do. You want them motivated to block. You know, he's like, man, all we got to do is give him a little bit, so let's give him a lot, you know what I'm saying? So he's one of those guys that's going to make everybody's better, and big shout out to Wooden because he's doing this thing right now, baby. Keep it up, because, look, the ebbs and flow of this game is going to keep trying you. It's up to you to remember who you are so you can remember, like, yo, at a point, I was the absolute best, because everybody goes through these ebbs and flows, and it's up to you when you're at that level, keep it at that level, because we have a lot of great returners where we always talk about it, you know, from Sinkfield, Crime Dog, Wooden, you see what I'm saying? The game's the game, and it never changes, you know? Like, everybody's always trying to find the next best, and it's up to him, Wooden, to stay at that level and keep it consistent every single year. Because once you show this level, anything else, we need to find somebody who can bring it back to that level. Yeah. So that's the thing about being consistently great, you know? So big up to Wooden. I love the fact that he's giving all of his teammates that extra energy to do what they need to do. But let's just see more consistency, baby.
Yep.
Ticats have had a wealth of an embarrassment of riches at the return position, whether it was Speedy B and, you know, Wooden right now, Chris Williams back in the day, Marcus Thigpen, Earl the Pearl, Garney Henley.
You see? You know, and you can't even remember some of these guys' names because of Speedy B. You know what I'm saying? And those are, and that's the process of the game, you know, that you have to take in. Like Garney Henley, man, holy moly. You know what I'm saying? And he played all those other positions and everything too. So the game is about who can take care of their body, their mind, and continue to play the way that they're supposed to operate. And that's why I give big kudos to a guy like Garney Henley, play all those years playing football, you know what I'm saying, at that level, because it's tough. It's not something that's like people look at it and like, oh my gosh, to be like, you know what, I'm going to come to this game and I'm going to watch Speedy B return the kick for like 8 years in a row. That's tough. That's different, you know?
Yeah, I'll say this. Wooden is off to a great start. A long way to go to get to the legendary status of a Brandon Banks, because let's not forget, Speedy B said, you know what, I'm going to be the best returner in the Canadian Football League. And then he said, you know what, I'm going to be the best receiver in the Canadian Football League. Let's go win a CFL Most Outstanding Player Award. Let's be a perennial all-star. Let's be a danger in all facets of the game. An unbelievable career. And hats off to Brandon Banks. I'm sure we'll see his name and number on the Wall of Honor sometime soon. Sure. Last point, and let's talk a little bit about the upcoming opponent. That's the Ottawa Redblacks. And here's what I want to ask of you guys, and we'll start with Matt. Quarterback Drew Brown, you know, the Redblacks offense are way different with him on the field. But here's a statement I'll make, and maybe I'll form it in a question. The Ticats are only going to lose this game if they beat themselves. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. And as good as Drew Brown is, Ottawa hasn't been playing complete football. They're not playing complete football on that side. Their defense is shaky right now. Special teams is, you know, they just lost Deadman, right? So that's a big loss for them in the return game. Yeah. And so on the opposite side with Hamilton's playing complete football, and of course every week it's week to week, and games like this can be a trap game if you allow it to be. But just the way that I think Milanovic has been coaching this team, and the way that they've been playing clean football over the last handful of weeks, and the way they've been just taking care of the football, playing efficient, not beating themselves, I see the same thing happening going into this game against Ottawa. It's going to be tough. This is going to be tough for Ottawa to come out of this game and not lose the game by at least two scores. Because Hamilton's going to be at the house. They're going to be at home. No, it's going to be they're losing by 2 scores going into this one for sure.
Let's not forget, this is the first of a back-to-back too, right? Like the Ticats are in Ottawa in week number 7. This is a big game.
Yeah, y'all. Ottawa record doesn't tell you who Ottawa is yet, because me watching Ottawa lets me know that there's favoritism over there. Because why was Pimpleton not back there returning from the jump? He's 10 times better than Denman. Me just watching football and understanding football. So he's a real good football player. And that goes around the board where they have really good football players that when they get in the ball and the carries and their touches, they're very productive. Like Standback, I don't know why he only touched the ball 4 or 5 teams last night. Or against Edmonton and in that game, because he had a real high percentage. On Ottawa's only efficient drive against, they had a good mixture of run and pass. So I feel like they're still trying to find their identity. Drew Brown's a good enough quarterback to win football games in this league. So whenever you're going against a quarterback like Drew Brown, it's never going to just be a walk in the cake, because he knows and understands the football game. He can play football at a high enough level to get his team a win. Are we the better team on paper? Yes. But do we have to come out here and say, I would say we have to start fast. When you got a losing team, they say keep losing teams losing. And how do you do that? You start off fast. So what can happen on the sideline, Matt? Here we go. All
they
them
start pointing the fingers and
this is what happened. And that's what you want to do as the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You want to keep losing teams losing. So come out here and start fast and put it on them. And then that's when it turned into a slaughterhouse. But if you keep a team like that around, oh my gosh, guys, we could do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's when it turns into a football game, because I tell everybody all the time, the CFL is one of those things where nobody's just flat out other than Hamilton versus Toronto last week. Nobody's just flat out better than the other team. There's push and pull everywhere, you know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, this is one of those games where Hamilton's got to come out and say, look, here comes the carryover from Toronto. We're starting fast and we're finishing fast, you know what I'm saying? So, they have to start this game fast and let Ottawa know that they are who their record is. Because in their heads, they're like, man, don't let our record describe it. We got to be like, we are who y'all think y'all are, keep their foot on their neck. So start off fast is going to be really important this week for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
2-2 Ticats hosting the 1-4 Redblacks. Tiger Cats pregame on Saturday night begins at 6 p.m. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. We're going to bid adieu for another week for Simoni Lawrence and Matt Bucknor. My name's Rick Zamperin. Thank you for listening to Ticats This Week. Another edition drops next week.
This has been the Ticats This Week on the Ticats Audio Network. Like, follow, and get a deeper understanding of your Hamilton Tiger Cats.